This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 15th day of May in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Less than 24 hours after the Guyana Teachers Union laid out its demands before teachers resumed duties, Minister of Education Priya Manik Chen has described the union's proposal for an interim 20% across-the-board payout to teachers as unreasonable. At a press conference today, Ms. Manik Chen, who was flanked by officials from her ministry, said the Education Ministry will not give in to such an unacceptable demand, making it clear that it will not engage in negotiations under duress.
The GTU's insistence that an across-the-board 20% be paid before any talks can happen is, in fact, duress. Given the GTU's many years as a trade union body and their experience, they must know that this is unusual, unacceptable, unreasonable, and would result in a breakdown of the talks. So it is clear to us that they had no intention to participate in any conciliation.
In a statement earlier today, the Teachers Union said the interim 20% across-the-board payment to teachers should be made immediately, as it laid out 5 conditions put forward for the resumption of work to pave the way for the conciliation process to address the time frame for the multi-year agreement to be negotiated. But Minister Manik Chen, while accusing the union of breaching an agreement between the two sides not to discuss elements of their discussions in the public, said it is clear that the teachers are being used as pawns in a much larger politically directed plot. Minister Manik Chen explained that the Education Ministry, with the hope of bringing an end to the ongoing strike and the impasse over the time frame for the multi-year agreement, initiated a conciliation process. She said while the first day of negotiations ended with the parties agreeing to 3 of the 4 proposed conditions for resumption of work, it was not until the second day, yesterday, that the Teachers Union whipped out a second set of conditions.
We were sitting at a table to see how we could reach that compromise. And when we were at a place of reaching agreement where we could now sit down and start trashing out which areas we want to look at, when that looked possible, when that looked likely, when that looked like everybody was going to be able to sign on these dotted lines, is when the union whipped out a document that they clearly had the day before. It's dated the 13th. But they kept it in their back pocket. And as soon as this thing was about to resolve itself, they whipped out something that they must know is unreasonable.
The Education Minister said at the end of Monday's meeting, the two sides had agreed that there will be a full resumption of work by teachers within 48 hours of the strike being called off, and that there will be no victimization and there shall be no break in service. She emphasized that at the time there were only 2 outstanding issues regarding the process of conciliation and provisions for legal services. The Education Ministry, she said, is willing to pick up where the two sides left off on Monday, but will not allow the union to hold a gun to its head.
Government is not going to sit at a table with these kinds of unreasonable demands and accede to them. That's not, it would be very, very bad precedent, not only for the Guyana government, but for governments across the region, if we were to allow this to happen.
The two sides are expected to meet again on Monday in the presence of the Chief Labor Officer. Asked whether the Education Ministry will push for arbitration should talks break down come Monday, Minister Manik Chen said the process of conciliation must be exhausted in accordance with the 1990 Memorandum of Understanding before there is any attempt at arbitration. She also said there is still space for the union to return to the negotiating table come Monday with what she called a reasonable position in keeping with established industrial relation practices. On the other side of the news, you'll hear more about those demands from the GTU. Stay with us.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Chance of a lifetime with Lucozade Energize Your Drive promotion. Enter to win a fully loaded Toyota CHR or a ton of cash. $500,000 and $250,000 respectively. Just purchase 2 or more Lucozade 360 milliliter at participating outlets. Write your contact details on the back of the receipt and place them in the marked boxes nationwide. It's that simple. And you're on your way to Energize Your Drive with Lucozade. This promotion runs April 12th to June 7th, 2024. Terms and conditions apply.
After stinging nettles, stink and dirty,
moderation, and soca and wine,
it's time to cool down
with soca star Patrice Roberts.
Looseness in my waist, not to answer shame.
Patrice Roberts,
Nesta, and more
at Cabisa Cool Out Beach Party.
Link your crew
As we close off the Genesis Independence Weekend the right and proper way.
on Monday, the 27th of May, the holiday.
At Kingston Beachfront.
Drinks, friends, and soca vibes.
Admission $3,000 early bird.
Cabisa Cool Out.
Please drink responsibly.
An interim 20% across the board payment for teachers is among conditions laid out by the Guyana Teachers Union for the resumption of work as teachers continue their strike action and the union continues to engage with the Ministry of Education. In its most recent statement, the GTU said the payment should be done immediately. The union has also laid out 4 other conditions, including that there be no victimization of teachers, loss of service, transfers, or demotions upon the resumption of duties. The GTU is also demanding that once the ongoing strike is called off, negotiations must commence within 72 hours and run for a period of no more than 6 weeks. It says should negotiations fail to bear fruit within the stipulated period, then there should be the establishment of an arbitration tribunal. It also wants the Minister of Labour, Joe Hamilton, to recuse himself from the negotiation process. The union laid out those conditions for resumption of work during the first 2 days of the conciliation process with the Education Ministry and the Ministry of Labour. That process will continue next Monday. The union said it is prepared to continue with the talks on Monday, but warned that the Education Ministry's failure to act in good faith can result in a continuation of the strike, which started back in February and continued for 4 weeks before a 3-week hiatus. The GTU said it remains committed to advocating for the rights and welfare of all teachers and will continue to explore all options to ensure its demands are met. In a direct message to teachers, the union said it understands the frustration and uncertainty the situation has caused, and it appreciates the patience and support of the members. According to the GTU, its strike action will continue until there is a substantial agreement with the Ministry of Education. Well, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in Guyana has indicated that it has noted the complaint by the Marara Distillers Limited over Trinidad and Tobago's rejection of a shipment of packaged milk for a distributor in the sister CARICOM state. In its complaint, DDL said although it met all safety requirements, it was still faced with an extremely onerous and stringent process for the importation of animal and animal-based products in Trinidad and Tobago, resulting in the country's rejection of the $100,000 shipment. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in a statement last evening, said under the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, the implementation of the CARICOM single market and economy, to which both Guyana and Trinidad subscribe, requires free movement of goods and services under the regional integration framework. The Foreign Affairs Ministry said Trinidad's refusal of entry to the dairy products wholly produced in Guyana by a CARICOM member state is an affront to the spirit of Caribbean integration and must not be accepted. According to the ministry, it understands that regional products must satisfy the necessary sanitary and phytosanitary rules, the technical regulations, as well as any product-specific rules of origin required to qualify the products for regional preferential treatment. It noted that based on available information, the dairy products from Guyana were in full compliance with the requirements. The Foreign Affairs Ministry said Guyana remains committed to ensuring that nationals who wish to exercise or take advantage of rights granted by the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas and other regional protocols under the integration agenda are not unduly restricted. It also noted that Guyana has opened its market to regional producers. It is expected that market access for products from Guyana into any CARICOM country is guaranteed for full benefits of regional integration to be realized. At a press conference on Tuesday, the chairman and CEO of DDL, Kamal Samaru, said the rejection of his company's products is unfair, especially since all requirements were met.
DDL finds these requirements contrary to the spirit of interregional trade, especially since we are reliably informed that Guyana has no such reciprocal requirements for importation of similar products from Trinidad and Tobago.
He said there must be a level field when it comes to regional trade.
DDL therefore requests the government of Guyana to take note of these developments and seek to ensure that there is a balance and equity in the trade relations with Trinidad and Tobago.
DDL is seeking the intervention of CARICOM on the issue, and the CEO said the company intends to take the matter very far. The Caribbean Court of Justice on Tuesday ruled in favor of the Guyana government, granting it special leave to join the appeal filed by Essequibo Exploration and Production Guyana Limited, Exxon Mobil, and the Environmental Protection Agency, challenging the High Court's ruling mandating Exxon Mobil to provide a signed parent guarantee for insurance coverage in potential oil spill scenarios. The government, through the Office of the Attorney General, had filed a notice of motion to be added as a party to the appeals at the level of the Court of Appeal, but its application was refused. It was then that the Attorney General moved to the CCJ, seeking special leave to join the appeal. Last night, the Attorney General Anil Nandlal, through his weekly televised program Issues in the News, said the decision of the CCJ comes as no surprise.
So once again, you see this decision of the Guyana Court of Appeal against the government being reversed by the Caribbean Court of Justice. I have made reference to a series of decisions involving the government in a particular type of case or cases, and the Court of Appeal consistently rules in a particular way, and the Caribbean Court of Justice consistently reverses the Guyana Court of Appeal. This is another example.
He said as a party to a contract with Essequibo Exploration and Production Guyana Limited, the government must be provided an opportunity to defend its position in the courts and ought to have been granted leave by the appellate court to join the case.
Here it is that the government of Guyana is a party to a contract with Essequibo Petroleum, known as Exxon Mobil. We are a party to that contract. A High Court judge makes a particular ruling that can have the potential of bringing that contract to a halt. This is not an outsider. This is a party to the contract that a court has ruled can come to a halt. One of the parties to the contract approaches the Court of Appeal after appeals have been filed and say to the Court of Appeal, look, I am a party to the contract. I must be heard. In addition, in our application to the Court of Appeal, we outlined the importance of this contract and the revenue generated from this contract to the developmental agenda of Guyana.
The Attorney General said notwithstanding the arguments put forward to the Court of Appeal, the court nonetheless rejected its application. In the High Court, Justice Samuel Kisun ordered the EPA to issue an enforcement notice directing ExxonMobil to provide the unlimited liability parent company guarantee and the environmental liability insurance within 30 days. The court found that both the EPA and the oil company breached their obligations under the revised environmental permit. Both the EPA and Exxon complied, but in doing so filed an appeal. The appeal is still being heard in the appellate court. High Court Judge Samuel Kisun did not mince words when he handed down his ruling. According to the High Court judge, the EPA is in an egregious state and has abdicated its exclusive statutory responsibilities entrusted to it by the Parliament under the Environmental Protection Act and the Environmental Protection Regulations to ensure due compliance by the Exxon Company with Condition 14 of the renewed environmental.
Ramp up your excitement and win the chance of a lifetime with Lucozade Energize Your Drive promotion. Enter to win a fully loaded Toyota CHR or a ton of cash. $500,000 and $250,000 respectively. Just purchase 2 or more Lucozade 360 milliliter at participating outlets. Write your contact details on the back of the receipt and place them in the marked boxes nationwide. It's that simple. And you're on your way to Energize Your Drive with Lucozade. This promotion runs April 12th to June 7th, 2024. Terms and conditions apply.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobil 1 adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Sol Guyana is the authorized distributor of Mobil lubricants.
Your last year, it was so nice. Me and them girls had real fun. It's the best party I ever went to. As a big one.
Back by Pop on Demand, Team Extra presents the Bad Day. June 22nd, 12 one-man bands running live. Stitchy Fight Machine, Murphy Invasion Band, Love Connection, Genesis, Big V, Cali World Band, Aaron the Entertainer, Water Smooth, and many more. Early bird Tickets at $2,000 at Just You Size Boutique, White Castle Fish Shop, Fireside Suites, Extra Beer, Starburst, compliments of Fireside Suites, Extra Energy Drink, and Extra Beer.
The Band's birthday!
Saturday, June 22nd at the National Park.
A 39-year-old security guard from vigilance on the east coast of Demerara was shot dead by the police yesterday during what has been described by the police as an armed confrontation. The Guyana Police Force reported this morning that a party of police ranks were in the vigilance area yesterday afternoon when they were stopped by a 27-year-old man who complained that a security guard, Michael Britton, had threatened to shoot him. The police said a 27-year-old man led officers to an area in the community and pointed out Britton to them. The police claimed that after calling out to the security guard, he started to run. The police said the ranks gave chase, and during that chase, it is alleged that Britton opened fire on the ranks while running away from them. The police said the ranks returned fire as Britton jumped a number of fences in his runaway bid. Eventually, according to the police, the 39-year-old security guard fell to the ground, and when ranks caught up with him, a bullet wound was noticed on his side. The police said he was picked up and placed in the back of a police vehicle and taken to the hospital, where doctors pronounced him dead. The police also said a teenager from the same vigilance community was taken to the hospital after he was grazed by a bullet during the confrontation between the police ranks and the security guard. Police investigators said they have recovered a 9mm pistol along with 4 rounds in the magazine and 1 9mm round in the breech of the firearm.
My son saying, Kevin, look, he coming back. But Kevin didn't pay my son no attention. And when my brother look back, he see and he jump off the truck and he run and go in the yard. And when he see running, going in the yard, he run to the front. Same time the police and me passing. He said, look, commander at the back here with a gun. Want to kill me. And same time the police and jump off the vehicle. And they run behind me brother back. So I told him, Mikey, you get gun? He say, no. I said, look, the police are coming. And the police meet by this step here. Then is when Mikey run. I said, Mikey, don't run. And he run, and the police and he. I didn't know if he shoot back on the police and more shoot him, but I only hear his gunshot. And they didn't know that he dead. It's still in the night time we know he dead.
The police did not indicate whether there were any spent shells found after the alleged shootout. The ranks involved in the shooting death are facing investigation, according to the police. The opposition People's National Congress reform has been thrown into mourning. Longtime party executive member and longtime Georgetown City Councillor Oscar Clark passed away this afternoon. News source understands that Clark collapsed at home and was rushed to a city hospital where he was pronounced dead. Opposition leader and PNC Reform leader Aubrey Norton has extended condolences to the family of Oscar Clark. He said the party will release a more detailed statement. A 6th person has succumbed to his injuries suffered in that Monday morning accident at Long Creek along the Sizdike-Linden Highway. The Guyana Police Force confirmed this afternoon that Aubrey Gandhi passed away this morning at the Georgetown Hospital. He was in a critical condition but had regained some consciousness. According to reports, he suffered multiple internal injuries as a result of the 2-car collision. Those injuries included several broken bones and damage to vital organs. 2 other survivors from the crash remain hospitalized in a critical condition. The 5 other victims were pronounced dead at a Linden hospital on Monday morning after being rushed there by passers-by. Persons in the area where the accident occurred said the 2 cars, which were heading in opposite directions, were both being driven at a fast rate at the time of the collision. A police report on the accident claimed that the car that was heading towards the city veered into the lane of the car heading to Linden, causing the collision. It is suspected that the driver might have lost control. The investigations are still ongoing. 2 months since Police Sergeant Alex Vaughn was shot dead by a fellow policeman, the Director of Public Prosecutions is still to advise on whether charges should be filed against the rank who fired the deadly shots. Crime Chief Wendell Blenheim today said the force is still awaiting the advice of the Director of Public Prosecutions in the matter. The incident took place back in March in the interior location of Carao in Region 7 during a manhunt for an escaped prisoner. Police Sergeant Alex Vaughn was leading a team of ranks when he was shot multiple times by one of his own ranks. The Guyana police force, in a statement shortly after the shooting, said Vaughn was mistakenly shot by a police constable who was initially placed under close arrest. A probe was ordered by the acting police commissioner Clifton Hicken, and that probe was completed by the Police Office of Professional Responsibility with the support of the Police Complaints Authority. Following the completion of the probe, the investigation file was dispatched to the DPP's office for advice. However, that advice is still to be offered in the case.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo. From its pristine rivers to its abundant resources, it's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect, and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true, or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruita, Cool Kids, or Viva. Look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall in the region. A 36-year-old bank worker in Trinidad and Tobago was ambushed and shot several times on Monday afternoon as she arrived home from work. According to Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, she succumbed to her injuries at hospital. The murder of Shermel Roberts immediately plunged the First Citizens Bank family into mourning as news spread of the incident. Police said Roberts was ambushed as she drove into the yard of her home at around 4 p.m. She was about to exit the vehicle when another car pulled up alongside hers and a gunman opened fire. She was assigned to the First Citizens Branch, Queen's Park, Savannah. The assailants sped off in their vehicle. Residents alerted the police, who arrived to find Roberts still breathing, but bleeding profusely from gunshot wounds to the right side of her head and neck. She was rushed to the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex, where she died a short while later while undergoing treatment. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government of Jamaica will continue to pursue consensus on constitutional reform because the constitutional and governance framework of the country cannot be disturbed without consensus. Jamaica Observer in a report said he assured Jamaicans that the efforts made by the government towards Jamaica becoming a republic were not in vain. His comment follows the decision of the opposition representatives on the Constitutional Reform Committee (CRC) not to sign off on the committee's report until concerns raised about the reform process are resolved. Addressing Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House, Holness said he had reasonable expectation that the government and the opposition were proceeding in good faith. And finally tonight, international news. Joe Biden and Donald Trump have agreed to participate in 2 televised presidential debates in June and September, according to the BBC. CNN announced the 27 June event on Tuesday and said it would take place in the key swing state of Georgia. A second debate on September 10 will be hosted by ABC. The announcement came shortly after Mr. Biden laid out his terms for taking on former President Trump in a debate ahead of November's election. No audience will attend the June debate in Atlanta, CNN said, while moderators will be announced at a later date. ABC has yet to announce more details on the debate it is hosting. Mr. Biden broke tradition and proposed 2 televised debates in June and September. His rival quickly accepted before suggesting they debate every month. The first 2020 debate between the 2 candidates was marred by frequent interruptions and crosstalk. The second was cancelled when Mr. Trump caught COVID and refused to take part by video link. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.